Hi, everybody. I'm Xan Sprouse.
It's Xan Sprouse in the house and ready to talk some Twin Peaks as we start the final leg of our journey with the return.
So sad.
Part 13 of the return. So after this, we now only have 5 more episodes to go.
Oh my gosh.
And there was some news that came out this week that apparently Showtime is interested in the idea of a possible Twin Peaks season 4, depending if, of course, David Lynch is interested.
That's the rub.
Yes.
I don't know if David
That's
Lynch,
the trick, isn't
yeah.
it?
I don't know how interested David Lynch is going to be. It would be, I of course would love it.
Right.
And I would like, well, now this is.
I think they've got plenty of stuff still left to cover.
I think there's plenty of stuff we could cover. We could branch out. You know, this
Right.
is not the original series did set itself up for being kind of one note with Who Killed Laura Palmer.
Right.
But I think this had so many different storylines going that it could continue. We could continue
This could almost be like an anthology series.
Right, or it could continue with all the other people that were following Bill Hastings' blog and The Zone, and
yeah,
it could be the Carl Rod spinoff. I'd watch that.
The Carl Rod show would be just fantastic.
I would love that. I would love that.
There'd be a premise like, every week he goes around and helps someone new in the trailer park or in the neighborhood.
Seriously, he's like the Dr. Sam Beckett of the trailer park. He just helps everybody out. And so, oh boy.
And don't wake me up before 9:30 a.m.
Ever.
Yeah.
Striving to make right what once went wrong after 9:30 in the morning.
After a cup of Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. Part of me wants to see what David Lynch would do with some of the characters we've lost.
Right.
And part of me doesn't. The more we get into this series, the more sort of depressing everybody's story is getting.
Yeah. And this episode is a great example of this.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there. That was a fantastic setup. You just teed that one up nicely and
set them up, you knock them back.
You obviously have this down cold by now. For someone new to the podcast game, you're pretty much a pro right now. As far as I'm concerned, you know what the deal is. So
I'm not new to obsessively discussing things, though. So.
There you go. So, which, hey, that works out great for podcasts. So
that works out great for podcasts,
especially this podcast, because So
that's what we do here.
Exactly. So we're going to talk episode 13, and let's start off, of course.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, exactly.
Dun, dun, dun.
Get ready and go in the conga line because a wrong has been made right and the sun is shining bright.
Those Mitchum brothers.
I think that was a Bradley.
I think it was a Bradley.
Yeah, the Jim Belushi character.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
But, we begin with the Mitchum brothers and Dougie, who's surprisingly into this conga line.
And the ladies,
Candy, Mandy, and Sandy.
Candy and Sandy, yes.
Yeah, because you can't go anywhere without Candy, Mandy, and Sandy.
Why would you? If you had them to not do the things you asked them in a timely fashion, wouldn't you bring them along too?
Exactly. And if nothing else, hey, it makes you look good because eye candy, of course. No pun intended. So,
or I Mandy.
Or I Sandy. I see what you did there. All right. So, they do a conga line through the Lucky 7 Insurance, and they're all happy, naturally, after getting that big $3 million. It
was $30 million.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was.
Yeah.
30. Thank you for correcting me. So, it was $30 million payout brought to them by Dougie.
Yes.
And so they're dancing right into Bushnell Mullen's office, and they give their thanks with the form of 3 gifts, a box, almost like, hey, 3 wise men practically.
Mm-hmm.
A box of Monte Cristo No. 2 cigars, a monogrammed diamond cufflinks, a set of monogrammed diamond cufflinks, and the keys to a brand new Beamer.
Just like the one that Dougie has now, too.
Exactly. So, Bushnell is obviously very taken aback. But somebody else is freaking out in the office.
Anthony Sinclair does
Anthony,
not know what to do.
yeah, well, it seems like that's his normal thing of not knowing what to do because, yeah, so Tom Sizemore's character, Anthony Sinclair, is watching all this down the hall and immediately ducks behind his desk
He's
because,
like under his desk, like
yeah,
where where his legs go, and he's like
yeah,
making a phone call.
it's like almost like his desk has become like a foxhole or something that
Right.
he,
And
and
he's like under his desk, like calling Duncan Todd,
yes,
going, "What do I do? He's still alive."
Anthony Sinclair, Office Ninja.
Office. So yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, he's ducking behind the desk and he calls up Mr. Todd, and um, that's Duncan Todd is obviously not very happy.
he says you have 1 day to finish Dougie off.
Right.
Anthony Sinclair says you said 2 days. He's like, yeah, it's 1 day now.
Yeah.
You screwed it up, so now you get less days.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I would think that Anthony's the kind of guy you have to give an ultimatum to.
Yeah, because he's not going to get. He's.
Yeah, but remember, yeah, because Duncan Todd's under the gun from Doppelganger Cooper.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So he's just like pushing that stress level downhill.
I think Doppelganger Cooper doesn't really want Dougie dead because if he did, he would just call in Chantal and Hutch.
That's what I'm wondering. Why doesn't he just go to his A game?
We're starting to get like Batman levels of trying to kill somebody here.
Right.
I'm going to string you up over a pool full of piranhas and have a candle under the rope that I have you strung up on, and then I'm just going to walk away and assume everything went fine.
Or if you're really serious about it, why would you just like send a pack of hitmen after Dougie at once, as opposed to just one guy at a time?
Or that, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I can understand not wanting to send a pack of them because that does become a little bit conspicuous.
Right. But it's almost becoming like Peter Sellers in the Pink Panther movies. I forget. I think it was like either Revenge of the Pink Panther or Return of the Pink Panther. One of those where one of the bad guys sends a bunch of hitmen one at a time. Like if one follows him to an Oktoberfest and whatnot. And
I think that's Revenge. It's not Return.
Yeah,
I know.
Okay,
that.
It must be Revenge. Yeah. But yeah. So one at a time they try to take him out, and just through sheer Clouseau-ness, or in this case, would Dougie-ness,
yeah,
that the assassin gets taken out. So
right, and that's the thing. I mean, and we have some, we've tried with Ike the Spike, and that didn't work.
Yep.
And now we've tried setting him up with the Mitchum brothers, and that didn't work. And of course, Anthony Sinclair is not going to kill him.
Yeah. Well, for obvious reasons, which we'll get into.
Right.
And so, yeah, maybe maybe that's the next step is to bring in Hutch and Chantal.
Something, but yeah, did you really think that Anthony Sinclair was going to be able to do this himself? I mean, he's kind of a not in the face little weaselly guy,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And this episode was great for just showcasing that. So, so Anthony ends up going to the Las Vegas Police Department later in the episode.
Who are apparently in with Duncan Todd.
Yeah,
you find out.
Yeah, because there's a couple of cops that are out back smoking, and so they're no good cops because they're out back smoking. And Anthony hits them up for something to like some poison or something to take care of Dougie.
Right, something that's undetectable. And
yeah, because obviously he's not going to just shoot him with a gun because, hey, that would be easy.
Right. It's going to be $5,000.
Yeah.
And, go here and get it. And, it's going to be...
Yeah.
It's going to cost
supposedly undetectable, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and apparently, the cops has no respect for Anthony because he is such a weasel.
Yes.
And so then Anthony ends up meeting up with Dougie, and the two of them are just going to have coffee and hang out together. So the next day, Anthony's waiting for Dougie in the lobby, and buys him a coffee at this place called Zyman.
Which is where he got the pie.
And that's where he got the pie, right?
Yes.
That's what I was talking about last week. Because apparently it's not boarded up.
It just maybe it just looks like it.
It looks like it was boarded up, but yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it just looked like it a little bit.
Yes.
So, and it makes a little more sense that it would have pie.
Yeah.
Because it's a coffee shop with pie.
Exactly.
Why they put it in a moving box, that I'm not sure.
Right.
But still.
Well, maybe that was the only box they had at the time or something.
Maybe they were out of boxes, but they still had pie, so who knows? Who knows?
Or, it's the same place that what's his name in Seven got his cardboard box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Yeah. So Dougie ends up taking a sip of coffee, and then suddenly gets up because in the distance he sees that there's where he can go to the Zyman's place and get a piece of cherry pie.
Right. So he walks over there.
Right. Shuffles over there, more like.
Shuffle. Well, right.
Yeah,
he shuffles over there.
The old waiter shuffle.
Exactly. And then
he even does say coffee.
He does. I know. It was so. You're like, okay, I've seen this before.
Right.
So then Anthony Sinclair puts the poison in Dougie's coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he goes into the Simon. She's like, "Do you want some pie? Go sit down. I'll bring it to you." So he comes back, and then he is sort of looking at Anthony Sinclair's back, and he sees dandruff on his neck.
Yeah.
And he starts
playing with the dandruff. Playing with the dandruff.
Playing with the dandruff.
And pushing at it. Kind of poking at it.
Trying to figure out what it is. And then so Sinclair just kind of breaks down, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Dougie." And then he runs to the bathroom and pours the coffee in the urinal. He can't do it.
The hilarious part, he throws the mug in the trash can, and of course there's a guy standing there at the urinal with a total deadpan delivery going, "That bad, huh?"
Yeah, exactly. The worst coffee I've ever seen. But there was part of me when he grabbed that mug that wondered, is he going to drink that himself? I
kind of wondered that too. I thought it was okay, is he just going to turn total chicken shit and just okay, I have no way out of here. I'm game over, man, game over. And
right. So I just can't do what I can't. And I thought he was going to maybe drink it himself, but no, he pours it down the urinal.
Or that he would get confused about what mug he was going to put it in, and then thought he passed it over to Dougie, and then turns out he drank the real one.
Oh, if only he spent the last 10 years developing a resistance to iocane powder.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
I was pretty sure that's where with that.
And Dougie would be like, put poison in both cups.
Poison both cups.
Poison both cups. That's what he's. Yeah, both cups.
New shoes. New shoes.
Iocane powder.
So they're up in Mullen's office, and Anthony Sinclair is confessing that he's working for Duncan Todd.
He's totally broken by this point.
Yeah, he doesn't even care if Duncan Todd kills him because he can't live like this. He hasn't slept in months, and
yeah, he says something like I was vomiting blood, and I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah, he's like, I don't even care if he kills me because I can't live like this. And Mullen says he's not going to press. And Mullen says that Dougie has already told him, which of course we know that Dougie didn't really tell him anything. He just drew some pictures on some stuff, and
right.
He says he's not going to
told him in air quotes.
Told him, yes.
Told him. Yeah.
He's not going to press charges if he testifies against Duncan Todd. And so I kept thinking this is enough like an interrogation that Cooper, okay, he's had some coffee, he's had some cherry pie. Now he's in an interrogation. Come on back. Come on back to us, Cooper.
Yeah, it just seems like, you've got all the ingredients. So what's going to take to finally, finish cooking?
I don't know. I feel like we've had.
I don't know what's left.
There's something we're missing, and I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Gordon or
Maybe.
Diane. I don't know, or an FBI badge. I'm not sure what it's going to do.
Yeah. It's got to be something like that. Maybe he sees the
Yeah.
blue rose. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe.
I don't know. I'm just speculating. 'Cause, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, come on already. We got 5 episodes left. We got to see Cooper at some
Come
point.
back, Cooper.
That'll be the final scene. Is like, yeah, we see Cooper back, and like, ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be just the kick in the teeth. Yeah, like, and David
instead of
Lynch
going away,
totally
he comes back
trolling
in
us.
the last scene. Yeah, exactly.
Although
That would be clever, but it wouldn't exactly be
yeah, it wouldn't be well received.
satisfying.
Yeah.
It would be upsetting. So.
So yeah, internet meltdown at that point. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're left off with Anthony. Is that he's Bushnell wants him to flip on Duncan Todd.
Right.
So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully soon.
Right.
Our next story. What?
Who's Roger? Who's Roger? Do we know who Roger is?
I'm not sure. Who is?
Because after Duncan Todd talks to Anthony Sinclair, he says, "Roger, can you come in here?" Like, is that somebody we've seen before?
I don't know. I think it's just his assistant.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be anything.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but who knows? It's Twin Peaks.
Yeah, who knows?
The most insignificant character could be like the key to the whole damn mystery for all we know.
Right, exactly.
So in one way, that's kind of cool because like you have to kind of pay attention to everything because it might matter.
Or like we were saying a few weeks ago, that how I always felt that the scene with Annie in bed with Laura in Fire Walk with Me seemed really tacked on.
Right.
But in this series,
kind of superfluous.
Right, but in this series, it's a big deal.
Right. Or at least it was incorporated into the new storyline so that it mattered.
Right. So we that wound up being something. Eventually, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So who knows? And then, of course, Dougie goes home, and Sonny Jim has the most blinged out gym set I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I want to play on that thing. That thing's awesome.
Yeah. So Janie E. Signs off on her family's reward from the Mitchum boys, which turns out to be like you said, this pimped out jungle gym set.
It like lights up. It's awesome.
It's got here's the thing. Yeah, it's all decked out in fair lights, state fair lights.
Yeah,
and it's got like a roving spotlight.
Yeah, what is
which kind of like reminded me a little bit of the Giant.
Yeah, a little bit of the Giant or the flashlights in Owl Cave.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the flashlights in the woods.
Yep.
So, also when Wyndham Earl brought Annie into the Black Lodge.
Right.
That whole sequence. So, yeah. But I don't know if it matters or not, but again, it's Twin Peaks. So, and then, of course, Janie E. gets a nice white BMW, and it's got a nice big red bow on it. And she's all just like, Dougie, you're the Grinchiest.
I love you so much, Dougie. Sonny Jim is in seventh heaven.
Yep. So presumably Dougie's getting lucky again tonight.
Probably, yeah. And then Dougie just says, seventh heaven.
Yeah.
So I hope that no matter what happens with Cooper and Dougie, I hope Janie E. and Sonny Jim do well. And I think that's part of what this is.
Right.
Is that they're setting it up for when he's gone, somebody's still going to take care of them.
Probably.
Yeah,
because well, I mean, it seems to me this whole purpose of the Dougie storyline is to have Cooper as Dougie going around and affecting all these lives for the better.
Right.
Like the slot machine lady, Janie E. and Sonny Jim, because obviously the real Dougie, if there was a real Dougie, was failing miserably at that.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, all those problems have been fixed by Dougie. The
Mm-hmm.
whole Bushnell Mullins, even the Mitchum brothers,
Yeah,
seem to be better off.
right. Everybody's better up. The old lady in the casino.
Yep.
Everybody who comes across him is the only person that we really haven't seen again is the child of the drug addicted mother that was across the street from where Dougie.
Yeah. What happened to Crack Mom?
What happened to Crack Mom and her little boy, and what happened to Jade? You know,
Yeah.
Jade's probably fine. Jade can probably take care of herself.
Jade seems like she's okay what she's doing. But yeah, what about Crack Mom and her kid?
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with him.
That's a good question. So we haven't seen them for a while. So 119.
119.
119.
Yep.
All right. So that's pretty much it for Janie E and Sonny Jim this episode.
Well, that and those idiot cops that get his fingerprints and just throw them away.
Yeah, the Fuscos.
The Fuscos, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
we should talk about that because so that whole sequence right before Anthony shows up at the LAPD or LVPD, excuse me. They finally get Cooper's fingerprints back. You know, the ones that they got off the coffee mug.
Right.
And apparently so it gives them the details that, oh, hey, it's someone who escaped from lockup in South Dakota.
And he's an FBI agent. And then they just start laughing and then they throw them out like these are obviously wrong.
This is obviously that's the biggest mistake, biggest effing mistake ever.
Well, and you just wonder why the hell hasn't someone flagged those prints like they flagged Major Briggs's prints?
Right.
You know, why isn't there something in the system that comes up as restricted or something that will flag those prints when somebody runs them so they can track down where he is, especially since Doppelganger Cooper is on the loose again and Gordon knows that. And did they not notice that his prints were backwards?
Yeah.
To the guy that broke out of prison in South Dakota?
Well, one of the more interesting theories I'm seeing online about Twin Peaks: The Return is the theory that these events, is it future or is it past? That, hey, maybe some of these events aren't occurring in chronological order.
Oh, and see, I want to say something,
yes.
But I don't want to spoil something else for somebody else.
Okay.
I'll just do that to you.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Kinda.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that. Maybe you're right. Maybe.
But I just remember that the giant stressed that. Is it future? Is this future or is it past?
Is it past? Yeah.
So, and that was pretty much setting, that was in the premiere, in the very first scene. So I kind of wondered if that was hey, that's something you need to pay attention to throughout the entire series. That you may not be following things in chronological order.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's one of the theories that's out there percolating, but and there's no fish in it. But
thank God.
Yeah, fish in a percolator.
Don't drink that coffee.
Don't drink that coffee, fellas. Don't drink that coffee. I miss Pete Martell so damn much.
I miss Jack Nance so much in general.
Oh, he would have been so perfect for this. So yeah, I just just one of those theories that I'm always, it's in the back of my head as we're reviewing this stuff. Okay, so Doppelganger Cooper gets pretty much the big storyline this week.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah. I'm older now, so I don't yell at the television as much as I used to.
Yes.
Oh man, did I? What the F? Just out loud,
wait! I remember you texting me.
Yes.
Going, WTF, Richard?
Just texting you in all capital letters.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Which was awesome. That definitely made me smile.
So yeah, Doppelganger Cooper, rolls up to this. He opens the code to the garage, and Ray is there.
The black pickup truck that he got from Hutch.
Yes, from Hutch. And Ray is not happy to see him. And, Renzo is like, how did he know the code? Well, I gave it to him. It's like, he didn't expect him to show up. He thought he was dead.
Yeah. Which is
So,
understandable because,
right.
hey, he watched him get shot and then the woodsman came out and like scooped Bob out of him, presumably.
Exactly. Just scooped pieces out of him. And so I can't blame Ray for thinking he's dead.
Yeah, so.
And so Renzo, Ray wants to just shoot him while he's in there.
Yeah.
Renzo's like, no, let's have a little fun with him. And that is famous last words.
Yeah. Now, Renzo, to explain this, Renzo is the boss of this gang out in western Montana.
Right.
So, yeah, so he's basically this big, bald, muscular dude that apparently is in charge because, hey, he can beat everybody at arm wrestling.
That's what makes you their boss.
Yeah.
And so they challenge him to arm wrestling. And basically, if he loses, they're going to kill him.
Yep.
And if he wins, he gets to be their boss. And Doppelganger Cooper says, I don't want to be your boss. And they said, well, what do you want? I want him, and he wants Ray.
Right. And Ray's just like peeing his pants at this point, I think.
Ray's freaking out because, now the boss has never lost an arm wrestling match.
Right.
But
obviously is in for more than he expected in this episode.
He's in for much more than he expected. So
a rude awakening.
So they start their arm wrestling.
So we go full over the top like Sylvester Stallone.
We start with over the top.
I'm surprised there wasn't a backwards baseball cap.
We need to watch the gang again. There's got to be one in there.
Has to be.
So we start with the arm wrestling, and it starts over the top.
Yep.
But it ends like The Fly.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful reference, by the way.
Thank you.
The David Cronenberg.
The Cronenberg Fly. David Cronenberg Fly. So it's not as well.
It's all Brundle Fly.
The arm is not as gruesome, but it gets just about as gruesome. So what happens is they're arm wrestling, and it looks like Doppelganger Cooper is going to lose. He's about,
he's almost to the table.
He's like 80 degrees down.
Yeah, and he's like, he talks about how it kind of hurts when you do that.
It's like starting position's more comfortable. It hurts when you do that.
And he raises it right back up.
Right back up, and then he says, "See how it hurts when I go like this?" And then he pulls Renzo's arm down.
And Renzo's freaking out. He's like, actually struggling to.
Yes.
And Doppelganger Cooper's eerily calm at this point.
Very.
Just staring right at him with those beady black eyes. And he keeps kind of toying with Renzo's arm.
Right. He's like, let's go back to starting position. It's much more comfortable. And then they do that a couple more times. And then Doppelganger Cooper kind of gets tired of playing.
Yep.
And not only brings him down on the table fly style.
Yep.
But then punches Renzo in the face to the point where his face is concave. Like his nose is on the inside now.
It's caved in, yeah.
It is caved in.
It's like if his face was made from clay. Like in art class, and you just punched your fist into it. That's what it kind of looks like.
So like I said, the arm isn't the gruesome part of this situation. It's the concave face.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, he's the boss now.
Yes.
So now all of these cronies that were rooting for the other boss are now rooting for Doppelganger Cooper. They've got Ray. They're going to hand Ray over. Yep. He wants some cell phones, and then he shoots Ray in the leg.
Well, first he's all like, bitches leave.
Yeah, he is kind of bitches leave. Yeah, that's true.
And he's like, I just want to talk to Ray.
I want to talk to Ray alone, please.
Now, apparently, though, there's this one guy, this little guy who looks like an accountant.
Yeah,
that kind of lingers over. Yeah, he's just like, "Do you need any money?" And Doppelganger Cooper just kind of looks at him and goes, "No, I don't think so."
I don't think so. And it's like, who is that guy? Was he the accountant that had really bad gambling debts and now
I don't know, but
now works in this garage?
Suddenly, now I want to know more about the accountant guy.
I know, like, where did he come from? So he's in a room alone with Ray.
Right.
And all the other guys are watching. Again, it's closed circuit TV. They're all watching through that.
Yeah, they have this big ass monitor screen.
This huge monitor.
It's like a 200-foot television screen.
Yeah, I know, it's huge. It's just for watching people die, I guess. I don't know what the hell.
Apparently. Yeah.
I don't know what the hell this gang does in their free time other than arm wrestling.
Like they're in this really shitty warehouse type thing, but they have this humongous 200-inch television.
Right, and they lock people in rooms and watch what they do. So he wants to know who hired Ray to kill him. And Ray says, I don't know. I never met him. I only talked to him on the phone. His name is Philip Jeffries.
Yep, so Philip Jeffries, shout out, yo.
So he said that there's something inside you that they want.
Right.
And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it was Bob. I don't know if it was the ring. I don't know if it was Cooper.
I was thinking it was Bob.
I wasn't sure if it was Bob or if it was Cooper. Yeah. And then he asks Ray, did they ever mention a Major Briggs?
Mm-hmm. Ray says no.
He says no, and then he shows him the ring. Ray's got the ring.
Yeah, the ring, as in, don't take the ring, Laura.
Yes, the ring. And he said he had orders to put it on Doppelganger Cooper after he was dead.
Yeah.
And then a guy dressed up like a guard gave him the ring before he got out of prison.
Right.
And he probably didn't do it because, he wanted to get away from the woodsman. So that's why he still has it. And Doppelganger Cooper tells him that he needs to put the ring on his left-hand ring finger. Right now. And he says, you know what I want? I want the coordinates that you got from Hastings' secretary.
Right.
And
so he dares him to reach into his pocket. So he pulls it. Ray pulls out the coordinates, and Evil Cooper looks at him, and then he asks where Jeffries is.
Here's the thing, though. But before that happens, we cut back to all the guys in the room.
Oh yes,
watching this go down, and Richard's there. What is Richard doing there? Richard Horn.
So apparently Richard, if the chronology is right, if after killing Miriam, or trying to kill Miriam, thank you, yes, trying to kill Miriam, he hightailed it out of Twin Peaks and apparently did not stop for anything until he hit Western Montana.
What is Richard doing in with these people?
You're going back to Missoula, Montana.
You're going back to Missoula, Montana. Yeah, that had me messed up in the head.
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
You're just like, what?
And I was like, what? That got me.
Yeah.
So
in this, of course, Richard, is this the first time Richard's actually seen his probable father?
I have no idea, or is he there because
because he was really staring hard at that screen.
He really was, and he was really interested in what was going on.
If Richard isn't Doppelganger Cooper's progeny, because of presumably raping Audrey in her coma,
I don't know.
I don't know how they're going to explain it, because that seems more and more like the likely scenario here.
Or is Richard drawn to Doppelganger Cooper because of Bob in some way?
Yeah, something like
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to let this one ride. But
or is he something like a simulacrum like Dougie was?
Oh, interesting idea.
I
have no idea. But
who knows? But again, I'm just trying to I'm throwing theories out.
I almost did like one of the cartoon rub my eyes thing. I'm like, is that Rich? Oh my god!
Yeah. He was.
So then
you obviously didn't expect him to be there because this is a completely different storyline, and then boom, there he is.
Exactly. How is this all going to connect? So,
it's got to start connecting at some point. This show,
please connect it up.
Yep. So
he asked where Philip Jeffries is. He says he doesn't know, but he heard he was at the Dutchman's.
No, we don't have no idea what the Dutchman's is, but apparently Doppelganger Cooper knows exactly what it is because as soon as he hears the word Dutchman's, bam!
Boom. Shoots Ray in the head.
Right in the head. So, yeah. So Ray's dead, and Doppelganger Cooper goes over and watches as the ring disappears off of Ray's hand. And then we cut to inside the Black Lodge.
It lands on the waiting room floor.
Where Ray is on the waiting room floor, bleeding out. And the ring ends up on the, it gets picked up by Mike, who sets it back up on
we
the
table. Think so. We only see a hand. We're
right.
assuming
it was kind of his jacket.
That's true. And he literally puts the ring on a pedestal.
Right. Yeah, it's that same pedestal that we've seen in Fire Walk with Me.
Right.
So
what does that mean?
And the deleted scenes for Fire Walk with Me.
Right. And am I the only one that?
So that kind of this kind of gives us a better idea of how some of these souls end up in the Black Lodge through that ring. Like, we actually get an idea of the purpose of that ring is to convey those souls, and we actually see it happen
right
into the Black Lodge. And apparently it only happens when they're dead. If they're dead wearing the ring. So, which is why, like, Laura didn't enter the Black Lodge until after Leland killed her.
Right.
After she put on the ring.
That's, and Teresa Banks.
Right.
And the ring was found on the piece of dirt by the trailer.
Right.
So yeah, but that's yeah. And am I the only one that is hearing Flash Gordon noises when he picks up the ring and puts it?
and then Max von Sydow as Ming the Merciless starts laughing.
And then we hear Queen.
The end? Question mark.
The end? Question mark. Oh,
yeah.
So good. And yes, it was, because come on.
Yeah. Doctor Who did a great send up of that, by the way.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. In the at the end of Last of the Time Lords.
Okay.
Which was with the 10th Doctor, David Tennant, and John Sim as the Master, after the Master is killed off, or is he, of course.
Oh, yes. I remember this now.
So what happens is John Saxon's wife, this Earth woman that the Master married to pose as Prime Minister Saxon, Harold Saxon, excuse me.
Yeah, she picks up the ring.
She picks up the ring, and just exactly shot for shot, I think, of the Flash Gordon scene.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was cool. Little Doctor Who shout out there, but yeah, little digression. So yeah, and that's kind of where we're left off with that storyline.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
But that was all kinds of crazy, yes. So yeah, you not only get to have Richard finally presumably seeing his dad, you got the end of Ray, and some more of the Philip Jeffries mystery.
Yeah, what's going on with Philip Jeffries?
Yep. So that was a big deal. Now we talked about Hutch and Chantal. They only show up very briefly as they're
eating Cheetos and talking about Mormons.
Yeah, they're heading at this point. They're on the highway, passing close to Provo, Utah.
Yep.
Which of course gets them talking about Mormons. And my wife's family is from Utah, so.
Oh yeah.
We have that. We've pretty much had that discussion, just like Chantal and Hutch, only without the Cheetos.
Without the Cheetos, yes.
But maybe the Wendy's wrappers. But
next stop Wendy's.
Next stop Wendy's. So presumably stopped at Wendy's too. But so yeah, they're talking about the Mormons not drinking, but Hutch brings up, hey, I heard they can have like all kinds of wives,
like up to 6 wives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 6 or 10.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big scene, but it happened.
Mormon facts with Chantal and Hutch.
Exactly. Mormon talk.
Brought to you by Cheetos.
Yeah, exactly. What's that? The Broadway play by the South Park guys. That the one I'm talking about.
Oh,
the Mormons.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of it, but you guys know the one I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of it?
Yeah.
The Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon. Thank you. That's it. Yeah, thank you. So, the next new storyline is where we go back to the Double R Diner.
Bobby comes in for some dinner.
Yep.
And guess who's there?
He sits down with Norma and
Big
Ed Hurley.
Yay!
Yeah, so we finally get the return of Big Ed Hurley, which was great, but not great for Ed, as it turns out.
Yeah, what is the deal here?
So Bobby's like, well, you guys are busy. I will leave you alone. And
like, do you want me to? Am I intruding on something?
Yeah. He doesn't want to intrude, but Big Ed's like, no, come on, stay. We're good. Nothing's happening here.
Nothing's happening here. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, nothing is happening there, and Big Ed is not very happy about that. So,
see, what's weird is that Norma's lawyer comes to talk to her.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a lawyer or if it's just like a some corporate guy that she hooked up with and sold her franchises or set up this franchises.
I'm not sure who it is, but when
so maybe like a business manager, perhaps.
Something. But when he comes over to talk to her, Big Ed and Bobby say they're going to leave her alone, and Big Ed calls her babe.
Yeah.
But then Walter kisses her.
Yeah. So and that's the thing is like. Yeah, Ed goes off with Bobby, and he's watching from afar.
Norma, he's not happy.
He can see Norma can see him, but apparently because where this guy, Walter, who's played by Grant Goodeve, who, if you remember, was Rick from Northern Exposure, from Maggie O'Connell's dead boyfriend, if you watched Northern Exposure from back in the day.
I had forgotten that's who that was.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's Rick from Northern Exposure. The guy who got hit by the satellite and fused with the satellite, if you remember that.
That's right.
So, and he apparently has not aged a frickin' day, so I hate this guy. But apparently Walter has his back to Ed, so he can't see Ed, what Ed's doing.
Right.
So Walter apparently is there to tell Norma that, hey, 3 of their 5 franchises, so the Double R has franchised, and they're turning a profit, but the flagship location in Twin Peaks has been down for the past few months because, hey, they're spending too much on pie. As in the ingredients.
The ingredients cost too much, and Norma doesn't want to compromise on local and organic ingredients. And the other stores are using the same recipe; they're just maybe using some cheaper stuff.
Yeah, and apparently Norma's not happy about this, but she's going along with it.
Right? She says, "We've heard from other people that the pies just aren't as good."
Mm-hmm.
And so he's trying to get her to use cheaper ingredients in the pie and to rename the diner with her brand, which is Norma's Double R.
Yeah. So they want to rebrand the Double R. And
right.
Norma's all like, it's been the Double R, just the Double R for the past 50 years in Twin Peaks. That's what people know.
Right.
So, and Ed is just staring daggers at Walter.
If looks could kill, that guy would be dead by now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Ed's not happy. And I'm not sure what's going on because...
So these 2 kids, after all this time, still have not gotten together or figured out how to get together.
It didn't work?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. So...
Nobody is happy in Twin Peaks, apparently.
Apparently not, because also Becky calls and Steve hasn't been home for like 2 days.
Which is probably good for her.
That's probably good for her, yeah. But, if he's going to show up, dead or in jail or something like that, that's
hopefully she's not going through the DTs.
Seriously. So Norma says, not Norma, Shelley says, come down here and I'll get you a big piece of pie with ice cream and whipped cream.
Yep. And she's like, damn, okay.
Damn, that sounds really good. Okay, fine, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody can understand that feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
You talked me into it.
You talked me into some pie.
So we don't actually get to see Becky show up.
No, we don't.
This week, maybe next week.
But we just know, all we know is that Steve is still missing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not quite sure what's going on with Ed because we again, over at Run Silent, Run Drapes, we see Nadine, but I don't necessarily we haven't seen Nadine and Ed together.
No, we have not. So are they still together?
Yeah, who knows? But so Dr. Jacoby stops by Run Silent Run Drapes, where there is a display of drapes with a golden shit shovel in the window.
Yeah, he's driving by apparently, and then slams on the brakes and is all excited. Bangs on the door repeatedly until Nadine comes to the door.
And she's so excited to see him,
Yeah, yeah. So,
and so they talk for a while, and they're like kind of adorably flirting with each other.
yeah, they are. Apparently, this is like the last time they saw each other was like 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nadine was on her knees looking for a potato. It
She
was
dropped
in.
one at the grocery store.
It
She
was
had to find it.
Yeah. There was a big storm that day.
So if he's doing that, he's doing that thing that you do when you like somebody and you remember the last time you saw
Right.
them, and it's really vivid in your
Right.
brain.
Right.
So they're kind of
Yeah.
adorably flirting with each other.
Yeah. There was definitely some sparkage going on there.
Yeah. So I don't know what's up with that.
So maybe at least Nadine will be happy. We'll see.
Who knows?
But yeah, and of course Nadine's talking about her, silent drape runners still.
Mm-hmm. They're completely
Silent.
silent.
So after all this time, of course, she still hasn't let it go, and now she's turned it into a business. So
She's doing this for us, Ed.
right. Who knows if anybody's actually buying anything from that store, but
Hell, I would buy that in a second. I actually need new drapes. And I'm like, if I could get silent ones from Nadine, that would be amazing.
but after watching this show, I wouldn't recommend the red ones.
No,
No.
I don't. Yeah, those are.
Because
there's part of me that wants red drapes to have like a whole Twin Peaks thing, but I'm a little too afraid
Diane
of
might
it.
come through them.
Let's rock.
Let's rock. Yeah.
So
yeah.
while
So
we're still in Twin Peaks,
yes. Well, we should kind of keep going with Ed because
okay,
Ed is kind of the closing credits in this episode.
Ed is just sitting there watching cars go by, eating soup.
Yeah, it's the most depressing thing, the sight you could ever imagine. And
He's at the gas farm. He's not even at home. He's at the gas farm.
Yeah, he's at the gas farm. And he's just all kinds of lovesick, sitting alone, slurping up some soup out of a cup, drinking coffee, while staring out the window facing the street. And the credits are rolling. And suddenly he picks up a small piece of folded paper, sets it on fire.
What was on that piece of
Walk
paper?
with me.
Is that what the paper said?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's the actual paper
Yeah.
from that mound of dirt.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was.
And then watches it burn. Now, fire, obviously, yeah, that's a big, strong metaphor in this show.
And I'm thinking, like, is that soup all he has left of Norma?
I hope it wasn't garbanzozia.
Ew. Oh, yes. Was it soup or was it cream corn?
Well, it was yellowish.
That's true. You never know what it was.
Yeah.
But
so I thought it was like maybe some kind of tomato soup, but
something, or like a chicken and dumplings or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, he's not even at home, so he's not with Norma. He's not with Nadine. He's at the gas farm eating soup by himself.
So he looked very dark, and when he was lighting that thing on fire, I'm getting this very dark vibe from Ed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Ed, but it's sad.
Now here's what I'm wondering: is the gas farm have any connection to that gas station of the Woodsman?
See, I'm not sure if it's the gas farm or if it's the convenience store that it is.
Well, I think it was intended to be the convenience store, but they were talking about they lived above a convenience store, but that convenience store didn't have a building above it, did it? At least back then in the 50s.
See, that's the thing. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure
unless they added one later.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the reference was supposed to be, but it could very well be.
Yeah, but I just kind of wondered if the gas farm and the gas station of the Woodsman had any connection.
Yikes! I hope not for Ed's sake.
Yeah, I hope not too. But yeah, it was interesting that that Lynch made that the closer as opposed to the Roadhouse this week.
Right.
But yeah, just I hope it. You don't know if it's just just kind of like it was like an afterthought kind of scene, or if it has any significance.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Either way, it makes me sad
Yeah,
for Big Ed.
I'm kind of wondering if he's going to do something very unpleasant to Walter at some point.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know.
And those big snow white teeth.
Oh my, yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So that happened. We talked about Nadine.
So, elsewhere in Twin Peaks, we go back to the Palmer house.
Yes, we do.
And
Sarah is there doing what Sarah does best.
Smoking and drinking Bloody Marys?
Yeah, smoking and drinking and waiting to die, apparently.
Seriously. And she's
sitting there in the dark with her big television, and apparently she's watching an old fight that had me wondering if this was the Bushnell-Mullins fight.
I was wondering that too, because they make such a big deal about him, being a boxer previously.
Yeah.
And it's like on repeat.
It's on a loop. Yeah.
It's on a loop, and you only see about a minute of it, and then you hear this electricity staticky noise.
Yeah, it was very.
And then everything starts over again, but she acts like she doesn't notice. She's just still sitting there watching it.
She's almost like she's in a fugue state.
Yeah.
And just maybe it's like a hypnotic type thing, because it was repetitive.
Right.
But it wasn't like, why would she be watching tape of boxing match, an old boxing match, on a loop of all things?
Well, and I don't even know if it was intended to be on a loop, because you hear that electricity noise and it starts over.
Yeah, so was this maybe like a time distortion?
Right, it's something else going on that we don't realize yet.
Yeah. But,
yeah,
more questions, because, hey, we don't have enough questions on Twin Peaks, obviously.
Right.
But it was definitely electricity.
Yep.
Yeah. Then, next we return to Audrey, another horribly miserable person in Twin Peaks.
And this got weird.
This got very weird.
This got really strange. She's still, of course, Charlie has still not told her what Tina said on the phone.
Yep.
And
which is frustrating enough.
Right.
We still don't get the story of what that was, even after Audrey's yelling at him to tell it. Seriously.
So then Charlie says he's going to take her to the roadhouse to see if Billy is there. She stops acting like she's not sure where she is.
Yeah, this is where Audrey's story kind of takes a very dark, sudden turn.
Because if you don't act right, do you want me to end your story too?
Yeah, that was really there was a
couple.
There was
up, Charlie, and what does he have on her? What the hell?
The whole thing. Okay, so yeah, she's like on the verge of tears. She's becoming obviously she's panicking almost a little bit at this point.
She looks very frightened.
Yeah, she's frightened. And so, yeah, she says, I feel like I'm somewhere else, like I'm somebody else. Have you ever felt that? And
what is that all about?
And then she tearfully says, it's like Ghostwood here.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Ghostwood, shout out to the podcast. Ghostwood. Thanks, Audrey, for giving the podcast a shout out.
Right. And so
okay, why would she feel like she was in Ghostwood?
And then Charlie says, do you want to stay or do you want to leave? And she says, I want to do both.
Right.
So what is that? I have a feeling that means more than just stay with Charlie or stay home.
Yeah.
There's something else going on there. And does Charlie have something on her? What's up with her? And this is the thing I can't quite figure out, because he says to her, do you want me to end your story too? Yeah. And then she says, what is the title of this episode? What story is that, Charlie? The story of the little girl who lives down the lane?
Yep.
And now, for those of you who don't know, this is a book by Laird Koenig.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up, because I was.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, wait a second, what's going on here? The little girl who lives down the lane has pretty much bin pulling a, you just missed my dad, he'll be back thing for about 6 months. Her parents divorced, and her mother was kind of crazy and abusive. So her father took her away to this sort of isolated island, even though he was dying.
Right.
And so he commits suicide. He drowns in the ocean and basically says, you can stay here by yourself. So he's trying to keep, and if your mother ever comes looking for you, give her this in potassium cyanide. And so the mother did come looking for her. She killed her mother by putting potassium cyanide in the tea, and the mother's embalmed in the basement. And anybody who's finding out about this stuff, she's killing as well. So she's basically, her father set this up for her to be able to live by herself, alone and isolated, but still self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
So she could stay away from her mother, but her mother came looking for her, and then she killed the mother as well. So,
now, have you read this book?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago. It's also a movie.
Yeah, it's a 1976 Jodie Foster movie.
Yeah, Jodie Foster is the little girl.
Yeah.
So I am not sure what the hell Audrey's talking about with this.
Yeah, it's
is there
maybe because that there's secrets involved about that absent father, or that
right.
there's suspicious neighbors or what have you.
Exactly. Yeah. What is
because
exactly?
It was set in a small town in Maine, so we had that
right.
small town mystery secrets.
Right. So I'm not exactly sure what Audrey meant by that.
Yeah.
And what does she mean by it's like Ghostwood?
Yeah, and she also says, "I'm not sure who I am, but I'm not me."
Yeah, what exactly is that?
And then Charlie counters, "This is existentialism 101. Are you going to stop playing games?" And then he says, or am I going to have to end your story?
End your story too.
Which is a very, almost obviously a very veiled threat. Practically.
And all of a sudden, Charlie goes from being like kind of annoying to being really ominous.
So here's what I'm wondering: is Audrey still in the coma?
Something's going on with her.
And is maybe like Charlie her doctor, trying to communicate with her and bring her out of this comatose state? Or is there something more supernatural going on?
It could go. I have no idea. And she does ask Charlie to help her. She wants his help. So she sees him as someone who can do something for her. But I just can't figure out what that would be at this point.
Because obviously we don't know what happened to Audrey, presumably after Doppelganger Cooper saw her.
Right.
So she could still be in the coma. She could be out of the coma, but trapped in some horrible demonic place.
Or did she get trapped in the woods?
Yeah.
Did she get trapped in? I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah. We have no idea.
And if Audrey is out in the ether somewhere, is she what's making the noise at the hotel?
That's a good question.
I know, because we're thinking it could have been Audrey, it could have been Josie.
I'm not sure we're going to see Josie.
Well, I mean, we could still see Josie in the knobs,
Right. But I mean, I would think we would have heard some indication of Josie by now.
Possibly.
Even a passing reference to Josie, but there doesn't seem to be any reference to Josie.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't quite know what's good, but yeah, this really left me with my jaw on the ground.
Yeah, this was like, okay, last week we thought that this whole storyline that was out of nowhere was just confusing, and thought like, okay, this is just kind of like a rambling nonsense. But now it has these dark overtones.
Yeah, it's ominous. Something bad is going on here.
And last week Audrey's coming off, like I mentioned, like Catherine Martell, but here she's kind of like back to that old vulnerable Audrey that we saw in the original series.
Right. And scared like she was when she was
kind of like when she was.
Jack.
Yeah, exactly, like One-Eyed Jacks. So yeah, so it's returned to that vulnerable Audrey.
Right, and she's nowhere near as able to stand up to Charlie like she was last week.
Right. And unfortunately, I don't think her special agent is going to come rescue her at this point.
Oh, man.
Unless Jack Wheeler comes out of nowhere.
Oh,
Billy Zane.
oh my God, don't even
If he came
raise
to
my hopes like that.
if Billy Zane came into Audrey's rescue, would you be just like, oh, my heart is melting?
I'm just gonna melt. I'm gonna be like, Frosty the Snowman on a July afternoon. I'm gonna be melted completely.
That's awesome.
Oh, that'd be so amazing.
I kind of want to see that happen just to get your reaction to it.
Oh my gosh. It'll be that scene in Amelie where
I've never seen that movie,
she's.
so I'll take your word for
You've
it.
never seen Amelie? Oh
I
my
know.
God.
I'm deprived.
Oh my God. Okay.
I have a wife that does not like foreign cinema. Okay. So,
I think that you can't help but like Amelie. I think she would enjoy that.
probably she would.
It's a Jeunet and Caro. So the same people that did
Yeah.
City of Lost Children. So, which is one of my favorites. So anyway.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Amelie where she likes the whole thing about Amelie is she likes this guy. He's sort of a mysterious guy, and she's leaving him clues to try and find her.
Yeah.
And she works at this coffee shop, which I do not understand how this coffee shop is still in business. It has like 17 employees and like 3 people who ever go to it.
So it has more employees than customers.
It has more employees than customers. And she's able to live in this adorable apartment in Paris, which I could not figure that out. And so I came up with this whole thing in my head. Her mother was actually killed by a falling gargoyle off of a church.
And she got an insurance settlement?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Catholic Church gave her a settlement, and that's why she's able to live in this nice, cute little apartment, even though she basically makes coffee and rates the menu on...
Those are the things you never see in French cinema.
And that, yeah, she does this, she writes the menu up for this coffee shop that doesn't have any customers ever.
Right.
So anyway, she's writing on the menu, and the guy she likes is in there, and he's sitting there like the menu is glass basically, and she writes on it from behind, and then you can see it when you come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a partition, and he's in the booth in front of it, and he walks out, and she doesn't have the guts to say anything to him, and so she just sort of makes this forlorn face, and then it's this computer effect where she turns into a puddle, like literally turns into a puddle of water and splashes on the ground. That would be me.
That would be you.
That would be me. Yes.
That's good. That's cute. That's.
I loved their love story. I really liked that love story. I thought that was really cute.
That's interesting.
I liked Cooper and Annie, and I liked John Justice Wheeler and Audrey. I wasn't a big fan of Gordon and Shelley.
Right.
And especially now that I know that Gordon has kind of like weird tastes, like,
Well, now you want Bobby and Shelley.
Now you totally want Bobby.
Because Bobby has like gotten his act together finally.
It's like you kind of like Bobby.
But Shelley's still stuck back in the 90s.
Shelley can't learn to not like the bad boys.
She never left high school.
Well, she left high school too early is the problem.
Yeah.
Now she's trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
So.
Or she's the mom, but she doesn't like. She acts more like a kid than a mom.
Well, I think she acts like a mom,
or wants to be a friend as opposed to a mom to her daughter.
I think it's more like she's trying to teach her daughter the right things to do, even though she hasn't learned the lessons herself completely.
That's fair. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she's like, do what I say, but don't do what I do.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly that kind of thing.
Got it. And then, of course, the most controversial scene in this episode, if you've checked out the internets, we return to the Roadhouse. We get the return to the MC.
Mm-hmm.
So the Roadhouse is very proud to welcome
James Hurley.
And so James, he's this week's musical guest of the Roadhouse. And what song does he play?
Just you and I forever together. Now, okay.
Yes.
This was a weird moment for me.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't like this song.
A lot of people didn't really like this song.
I really didn't like this song. I really didn't like...
I was okay with the song.
Well, the thing is, it's not the worst song in the world, but it was just another thing to take up time when there's things I want to know.
Yeah.
And that was my problem. And I wasn't a big fan of the James Hurley saga, that what I call it. I call it the
Right.
James Hurley saga, where he runs away and he lives with that rich lady and
Yeah.
she wants him to kill her husband. That whole thing, I was like, can we just get back
No,
to,
nobody liked that saga.
yeah, can we get back to this? And it's not that I didn't like James.
Right. He was fine when he was just with Donna and talking about Laura.
I liked James. I just didn't like the James Hurley saga because I think there could have been more with James,
Yeah.
with his drunk mother and all of his
Or if
issues.
they
And
would, or if they would have let him be one of the Bookhouse boys helping Cooper in the gang.
I thought, yeah, that was the thing, because he kind of was a Bookhouse boy already, so
Yeah.
maybe he could have stayed and helped out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If he had stayed, maybe Bobby and Mike would have gotten to him. I don't know what happened. But so I never was a huge fan of this song.
But now.
But when I heard that opening guitar riff, I actually got a little choked up. I was like, oh.
Yep.
And it's amazing. It's amazing what nostalgia will make you forgive.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people online apparently did not forgive.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was everybody was just accusing Lynch of the ultimate troll by all the because, well, here's the thing. For the reasons you mentioned, that that this song was just completely out of place back in the original series, because it was taking time from the main stuff we wanted to get to, and it was just such a random scene that all of a sudden James sits down, plays guitar with Donna and Maddie as his backup
Right.
singers. It was just so out of nowhere. You're like, okay, when did they decide to put this together? With everything that's going on. So it's gotten a lot of flack over the decades, and still is getting flack. But so when it's coming off like that, David Lynch was aware of the criticism and is like, okay,
F you guys.
F you guys.
I love this song that we wrote together.
I love this guy. I love this song because, hey, I co-wrote this song, or whatever. So
Angelo and I don't give a rat's ass what you think. We're putting it in the show.
Exactly. We're putting it in the show. Screw you guys. I'm going home. So yeah. Exactly. So it was just like this big FU to all the critics that have, and I think that was kind of like part of the premiere episode, because James, having gotten so much flack from fans, that he put in that line that James is still cool. He's always been cool. Right.
And that's the thing. James, I really like the character of James. I thought James was a good character. He was so good for Laura. He was good for Donna.
Right.
And I'm sorry, if Doc Hayward likes you, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Just end of story.
Yeah.
So I do like James. I didn't like that.
He wasn't. It wasn't the flaw in the character so much. It was the flaw in the storylines.
It was a flaw in the storylines. Exactly. I've said the same thing about Wesley Crusher.
Yeah. Not a bad character.
He wasn't a bad character. He had bad writers.
See, and that's the way I feel a lot about characters that are, like a lot of fans look down on. It's like, and this is coming from me being from my writer background. There aren't bad characters. There's only bad writing.
Exactly. Now there are characters you're supposed to hate, but then you love to hate them. That's like
exactly
like a Jaime Lannister.
Yeah.
You're supposed to hate him.
Although now you kind of see him on that road to redemption. But Cersei, you still really hate.
Oh, you hate her.
You despise her. She's a fantastic villain to hate.
Absolutely.
But she's compelling.
Mm-hmm. She's compelling, and you don't hate her because.
Right, like Joffrey. Joffrey, you loathed Joffrey with a passion. You wanted him to die horribly, but he was interesting.
Right, you watched because you wanted to see him die.
Yes.
There's not. I mean, you don't.
And also what he was going to do next.
You can't. You don't hate them because you're sick of them. You hate them because they're horrible people.
Right.
It's like. But yeah, see, James, I think James started out okay, but like I said, that whole saga with him and that lady that he lived with, I was like, why is James getting mixed up in something this stupid?
Yeah, it was. It was such soap opera cliche, and
yeah, it was very. It became
like, hey, James, I want you to come help me, kill my husband,
kill my husband,
kill my husband, so I can hook up with the chauffeur.
Yeah, that was really crazy.
Who's really my boyfriend.
Yeah, who I say is my brother, but he's really my boyfriend.
Yeah,
It became Invitation to Love.
exactly. It was like
And
the soap opera within the soap opera.
I wanted to watch Twin Peaks. I didn't want to watch Invitation to Love.
Yeah.
So, and that song, I would have liked that song maybe if it was like a Chris Isaac. I just didn't like that high voice, and I didn't
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
girls sounding like they were on lewds. There were things I didn't like about it, and again, I think I didn't like it because I didn't want to watch that scene.
Right.
I wanted to watch them find what happened to Laura. They had things to do besides sit there and sing.
But now here in the context of the return, which is kind
Yeah,
of like a completely different animal than the original series.
there was something about it that I said just kind of got me. I was just like, oh, it's that.
So as far as you're concerned, it clicks better this time around.
I think it clicks better this time, and I think it says something about James. I think he's. Does this mean James has never? Did he come back to Twin Peaks for Donna?
Yeah,
Did he?
we don't know
You know,
because one of he's singing the song to this girl named Renee,
yeah.
and we haven't seen her since part 2, where
Mhm.
she's in the booth with Shelley,
Right.
and we kind of wondered if at the time we wondered if James and Shelley were going to hook up.
So I wonder if James is trying.
Maybe
James.
maybe he's in
You know,
love with this, like maybe he's hooked up with a different girl named Renee.
I don't know, but it's like James. I get the feeling that James has been running for a long time, and
Yeah,
now he's back, and he's trying to rediscover who he really is,
maybe.
which is why he's at the Roadhouse playing this 25-year-old song.
Or maybe he went off and had some kind of musical career.
But you
Because
think he'd have different songs?
well then maybe if that's the old standby. Hey, let's
Maybe,
play
yeah,
for
that's the crowd
the
pleaser.
local crowd.
Yeah, maybe.
But again, you would think, well, hey, that was my song with Donna and Maddie, and so
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. It's
is that his
should
go-to?
never
Is that his go-to song?
you should never have the same song for different people.
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
gets weird.
Yeah, and what that part was a little weird.
Yeah.
But if okay, like maybe he went off, had a career, came back for this girl named Renee, and he's singing to her, and she's all weepy and moved by the performance.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I think it's one of the things I find it really interesting is that we haven't heard James speak.
No, we haven't because uh, this is probably the same audio from 25 years ago.
It is the exact same audio.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, it's the exact same audio.
It sure sounded like
I
it.
mean, the
So,
same chords, note for note.
right.
I mean, even in a reconstruction, you'd hear some difference.
Hmm.
But I listened to that pretty closely. I've seen the episode twice.
Yeah.
Could not, and I listen to Just You and I on CD all the time because it's all on the season 2 soundtrack.
Hmm.
So I can't hear a difference.
So that's the
If
thing. He
there's a
hasn't said
difference, I
anything
couldn't
yet.
hear it.
Yeah, he hasn't said anything yet.
And
So
the
that's
backup singers sound like the original backup singers from that
yep.
were, that Donna and Maddie dubbed over, or
Hmm.
so
Yeah. So
yeah,
who knows with that one? But I actually thought that was kind of a cute scene
yeah. So
because I'm at the point now where I'm used to the Roadhouse, meaning we're done here. We're going to
yeah.
listen to some music. I just have to live with the Roadhouse being the end. So
And then we got the bonus Big Ed depression scene.
right. So maybe there's something. Maybe James came back because Big Ed needed something. I don't know.
That would be nice. Hopefully James will actually integrate into Big Ed's storyline,
That'd be cool.
and hopefully get him out of these doldrums. But
Poor Big Ed. I
but
love Big Ed.
yeah, but the vibe I got here is again, it's David Lynch saying, you know what, I don't care what you people think. I like James Marshall as James Hurley,
I do too.
and I'm going to use him, and I don't care if you like it or not.
Yeah, I like him too.
So I kind of respect that in a way.
Yeah, I think there's, like I said, there's nothing wrong with James. James had a dumb story.
Yep. So, if nothing else, it shows that how loyal to his actors David Lynch
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah, and loyal to his characters.
Yes.
David Lynch is not going to pull a George Lucas on us.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I'm suddenly thinking about the South Park episode of where Indiana Jones gets raped by
oh my god.
by Lucas and Spielberg.
Oh geez.
Now that you brought
Oh
that up,
geez. Yeah.
it was great commentary, but man, it's brutal. It's brutal. It's harsh, but it's pretty dead on. So I think that's about everything about this episode, unless I forgot something.
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot going on apart from the really big Doppelganger Cooper scene.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then, of course, a lot of crazy moments, and obviously the very dark turn with Audrey's storyline.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Charlie kind of gave me chills in this episode. He really scared me.
He did. I mean, that moment, yeah, when he said, oh, am I going to have to end your story too?
What the hell?
Yeah,
that just sounded scary.
When I watched that the first time, I told her, like, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it wasn't. So, what's your rating for this episode?
8 out of 10 gym sets.
Nice, very nice. I gave it 8 out of 10 lonely cups of soup because So
poor Big Ed.
Poor Big Ed. Hopefully Big Ed gets his groove back next week.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would.
I would like to see Big Ed. Have something good happen to him.
Yeah, somehow Big Ed and Norma got to work this out. Somehow
they got to figure something out. I mean, they just need to be together.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, because they're both, once again, I don't know if it's just they're afraid of commitment to each other, or what's going on there, but
maybe
Ed was ready to commit, and then Norma ended up hooking up with this Walter guy who pulled her in all these like directions, and their romance kind of fell by the wayside as Norma wanted to build up the double R empire.
Right.
So
I don't, or like maybe just things, they never seem to play the same cards at the same time.
Yeah. So, but so I thought that was that's we'll see where that goes. But so we're both in sync, 8 out of 10. Now I don't have any new feedback from Ivan Ivanov this week.
Well, Tanya's very little. He's busy.
That's true. Yeah. She's apparently Tanya's probably in therapy, so that's probably because remember he did say that he was.
That's the thing. If she falls asleep to us,
she's got to be in therapy right now. So,
right.
But hopefully not seeing Dr. Jacoby. But he lost his license, so
that's true. He did.
But
maybe your freedom is.
Maybe she gets a mini golden shovel.
Aww. That'd be so a little boom boom shovel.
Yeah, exactly. A little boom boom to shovel your way out of the boom boom.
Shovel your way out of the boom boom.
That's funny. So obviously next time we're going to talk about The Return Part 14.
These numbers too close to the end.
I know we're getting way too close to 18 for my liking.
So, yeah, me too. We're getting really, really close.
Yeah, and then after that, yours truly is going on vacation for a couple weeks, but we'll be back and scrambling to catch up afterward.
We'll be back and catching up. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but for right now, but we will be back next week. So stay tuned for The Return Part 14. And if you want to get in touch with us, because hey, Yvonne, we miss you. You can reach us on the Facebook, as all the crazy kids are doing, at the Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks Podcast Facebook page. And you can also reach us at GhostwoodCast on the Twitter machine. Or you can email us, which works out just swell, at ghostwoodpodcast@gmail.com. So either one of those three options are available, so please do that. And also, please, if you're not already, please subscribe to us and on iTunes and rate us if you would, because that helps people find us. I noticed
Yes.
I noticed on the iTunes, I checked it recently, that we are showing up on when you do a search for Twin Peaks, and if you scroll down past the TV episodes and albums and whatnot to the podcasts. Now, we're not on the main page, but if you scroll all the way to the end, we're there. So, hey, we're grouped there. But I think that if we get enough people, that'd be a little closer to the main page. So that would be kind of cool.
Yes, if you subscribe and rate us, that would be amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
yeah. So, but if you've done so already, thank you very much for doing so. And yeah, please like us also on our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. That would also help. But we appreciate those of you who have already done so. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. We just love that somebody's listening.
Exactly. And a shout out to everybody that's listening to us on YouTube.
Yes. Hello, YouTube.
Yeah. So, hey, Vesuvi. Thanks for listening to us on YouTube. So cheers for that.
Yep.
So as for you, Xan, where can they find you? I
am on Facebook as Xan Sprouse.
Yes.
And I am on Twitter and Instagram as Udinax19.
And please,
for those of you who are wondering how to spell that, that's Xanadu spelled backwards.
Right. So pretty sure you can figure it out because you're obviously very bright people because, hey, you're listening to our podcast, right?
You like Twin Peaks, so you think about things.
Yeah, exactly. So just pretend it's being spoken to in the Black Lodge and reverse it.
Right. Pretend it's the man from the other place telling you.
Yeah. Udinax. Udinax 19.
That'd be so great. What about you, Charles? Where can you be reached?
Well, obviously, I'm at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine and at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, where I recently posted some stuff from Wizard World Columbus.
That's right, you did.
Including some nifty photos of Catherine Tate, John Barrowman, and David Tennant.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. So
big old Doctor Who jamboree down there.
Yeah, which was very unexpected this year, but very welcome in my opinion. Long overdue in my opinion. But John Barrowman, always a trip.
He's wonderful. I met him and I told him my name and he said, "What, did your mom take a lot of Xanax?"
Yeah.
So yeah, he was he got a kick out of my name. Yeah. So that was always fun.
Yeah. And it was fun to have John Barrowman and David Tennant have this little rivalry back and forth, which was great. Which was great because they were a little rivalry about which one of them could ran faster on Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, good question.
That's pretty funny.
I personally am very excited to hear David Tennant be Scrooge McDuck.
Yes, because he did talk about that while he was there.
Cool.
Yeah, and apparently according to him, they've already started recording season 2.
Awesome.
Even though the first season hasn't even aired yet.
Well, that's the thing.
With animation, you have to record the stuff in advance because, hey, it takes forever to do the actual animation.
Or as they say on The Simpsons, they don't do it live because it's a terrible strain on the animator's wrists.
That's a great line. That's great. So, and then as also for me, that Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs, Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus, and my blog, Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, which apparently you can now also get in mug form on the official Showtime Twin Peaks store.
Fantastic.
They have shirts that say damn good coffee, but they have a coffee mug that says damn good coffee, and then you turn it sideways, and it says ... and hot.
Look at them advertising for you. That's
I know.
Sweet of Showtime.
Yeah, it was. So appreciate you guys pimping my blog. Oh, even though I stole that title from your show, but we won't talk. But still. And they also have at the bottom of the mug, they have RR to go, R to go.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty sweet. So I'm gonna have
to
get me one of them mugs.
Oh yeah, I've got a mug that I bought at the R Diner, and it is my favorite mug. It's very well designed.
Well, I have some friends that back in the day, I'm going to show this to you, Xan. Obviously, you can't see that out there in podcast land, but a friend.
Oh, look at that!
Yep, back in the day they made me this, because they know I belonged to a Teen Titans writing group called Titan Talk back in the day for these wacky things called amateur press associations.
Oh.
And we did these little, before there were blogs, we did these things on paper and Xerox them called zines.
Oh, I remember zines with
Yeah.
with the collating and the stapling.
Yeah. So anyway, so fanzines is essentially what this was. So yeah, we did the whole collating and stapling thing. And my zine at the time was called Damn Good Coffee and Hot because, hey, I was a big Twin Peaks fan back in the day.
Well, check that out.
And I just resurrected that for my blog because, hey, that's a great title. You're not going to come up with anything better than that.
Heck no. And since you guys can't see it, I'll tell you that mug is where Charles keeps his sonic screwdrivers.
Exactly.
So.
I got that inspiration from the 12th Doctor episode, the pilot, that aired just this past season.
Oh, okay.
Because he's got one of those on his desk at the university where he's posing as a professor. So it's a great little in joke. So from all the different sonic screwdrivers from all the different eras. So so please check out Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about Twin Peaks and all kinds of comic book and TV news. Posted some recent news about The Flash and Black Lightning. And my other podcast that I do, the Phantom Zone podcast. And Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that I do with Jesse Jackson. So please check those out. We definitely appreciate it.
And I have to issue a correction from last week. Last week, I stupidly said, due to my foggy memory, that the song "Tenderness" was an English beat song. It is not. It is a general public song.
Oh.
So I just wanted to correct that. However,
yeah, I was wrong too.
I did go see the English Beat last weekend.
Yep.
And they played Tenderness.
Now English Beat still did Mirror in the Bathroom, right?
Yes, that was English.
Okay,
Beat,
so I was right about that at least. All right. Good.
Just for they're only the English Beat for those of us in the United States. They're the Beat.
Right.
In their native land.
Yeah.
So.
Because we didn't want to confuse them with the Beatles, presumably.
I thought it was because of Paul Carrick and the Beat.
It could be. I didn't think about that.
I think that's what I heard at one point, that it was because of Paul Carrick and the Beat.
Okay.
So that's why they had to add the English Beat on there, so we didn't
confuse the two.
So, but yes, that's how we know them here in the United States, as the English Beat. That's how they are marketed and things like that. So,
so
they were wonderful. They were great. But yes, it is, that Tenderness is in fact a general public song.
Tenderness.
So. Where is the tenderness? Where is it? Yeah, I love me some Dave Wakeling.
That's great.
He's pretty fabulous.
All right, so everybody come back next week for the return part 14.
I don't like how high the numbers are getting.
I know, and hopefully we'll get the return of Jerry Horn so I can use this.
I think I'm high!
Yes!
What, you think I was going to go a week without that?
I'm so glad we didn't. I was hoping we would have a good reason to use it, but you don't need a reason. It's like chocolate or cheese or puppies.
Exactly.
You don't need a reason.
Exactly. Chocolate, cheese, or puppies.
Yep.
There you go. And Jerry Horn talking about how high he is getting.
I think I'm high.
And I like that he's straining from the diaphragm on that one. I think I'm high.
Killing it. He's killing it on Jerry Horn this time around.
So yeah, hopefully we find out what Jerry Horn was running from last time we saw him coming out of Ghostwood Forest. And does it have any connection to Audrey?
And does it have any connection to Audrey and why she is scared of Ghostwood?
Yep. So come on back, y'all.
My gosh.
We'll be here. And we'll see you next time right here on Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Just the ganger.